What's up, guys? We are back for another NECA Predator review today, taking a look at an older Kenner tribute figure. That would be the cracked TUSK Predator that I just recently got a hold of. This guy comes on the standard NECA blister cards, but these are done up in a Kenner style. So you've got that Kenner artwork on the backer card, you've got the Predator in the bubble there, and then the back of the package has got the classic Kenner style artwork with the cross-sell and the bio. So let's do it. Let's pull this guy out and take a look. Alright guys, and here he is out of the package, our Kenner-inspired cracked TUSK Predator. And this is one that, I've basically reviewed this guy sort of already when I reviewed the Lava Planet Predator because they are palette swaps. Well, basically, they are essentially the exact same figure outside of accessory differences and the fact that the Lava Planet Predator is a fully transparent Predator. So we have a lot of similarities to go on there, but they look very different outside of sharing that mold. So this guy is, of course, one of those Kenner homage figures. So, you might have had this guy as a kid, but this is the updated NECA Sculpt. It's a little dated by today's standards with Ultimate Predators around, but I still think this guy's pretty fun and pretty cool. So let's take a look at articulation real quick, see how he moves. He is a little more on the limited side again. That's one of the big comparisons between Ultimates and the older Predators, is there is a lot of missing joints on this particular figure. So you have got a swiveling head, and he goes back a little bit and he goes down a little bit, and then of course you've got a little bobble side to side. You have got a plasma caster. This is one of the ones that's kind of built into the Predator, so it'll swivel, it'll rock back and forth, and it'll swivel. Arms go out, they rotate. You do not have a bicep swivel, you instead have a rotating and single hinge elbow, which really does not afford much motion. That might be my one biggest pet peeve when it comes to these kind of Predators. Even though he has limited articulation in the chest, this is where it really bugs me the most because you really can't do a whole lot with these arms. You do have the older style ball hinge ankles, or not ankles, that's at the feet. This is the wrist at the hand. So you can rotate and then rock all around. I do like these. They are a little weaker than hinges, but they work really well and afford a great deal of mobility. Swivel at the waist, and then you bobble side to side, back and forth ever so slightly. Legs go out, they kick forward and back. You can rotate in there. And then you've got double jointed knees. They go back far enough, I'd say. And then you've got the telltale ball pegs at the ankles, the actual ankles. So side to side, forward, backward, rotation, all that jazz. So he does move pretty well. It's just not as well as it could be by today's standards. So I'm not really gonna compare it to an Ultimate figure, but it's just obvious that he does have some limitations, especially in the chest and at the elbows. Of course, as is the case with, well, a number of Predators, for me personally, the look is where I really get into these figures because frankly, I just love Predator designs, and I love everything about the way this particular figure looks. He is similar to a lot of Predators just because he's kind of basic, but at the same time, his coloration is just enough different from others. He's, a more orange hue than kind of a lot of the yellow or cream-colored Predators. And of course, he does have, for the most part anyway, pretty unique armor outside of the fact that, well, the Lava Planet Predator has the same one, but they are few and far between. And he has the really cool gauntlet blade on his right hand. So, you can see that he does have a lot of, texture all over. So we've got the sculpted net lines, and this is one of the ones where the nets are not fully painted on the entirety of the figure. Some of them are and some of them aren't. You've got this nice kind of mottled armor. It's really pitted and nasty. It's kind of a pewter color almost. It's not really silver, so it has a little gunk and a kind of nastiness to it, so it looks like it's been used a bit. He's got the cable that runs from the back to this big monster on his wrist here, and it doesn't really impede movement either. It doesn't hinder articulation. You can get the arms out just far enough with the cable. It stretches. It's really pliable, so there's no reason to worry about that. And then there's just a ton of detail in this guy here. A lot of paint work, a lot of sculpt work, and that's pretty much the way it is across the entire body, from the pitted armor that's on the chest, what little there is, to the shoulder piece, to the other gauntlet that of course has the control pad, and then you've got the big knee pads, the thigh pads, and you've got the shin guards down here. So I just really like the way this Predator looks. This one has a little nostalgia for me because I did have this Kenner Predator when I was a kid. I like pretty much all of them. I don't have it anymore, but I do remember having this one. It was among the handful that I did own. So it's kind of cool to have an updated version, and that's really where a lot of my interest lies with the Kenner Predators, just because NECA does a really good job when they go back and do those homage lines for pretty much any brand. They really kind of go all out and do a lot of really cool and fun stuff on this one. Even with the with the plasma caster back here, you've got the one that kind of rocks back and forth, which I really like that design. It looks different. It's kind of like a little carapace almost. So it's just a cool design. It's different. It's different enough that it kind of stands out amongst a lot of other Predators. And then, of course, you have got the head sculpt up here, which I just love this mask. I really, really like it. I like the kind of pincer look that goes around the mouth region. I like the little respirator almost kind of thing. It almost looks like the front of like a Star Wars type Darth Vader Sith mask. The kind of breathing apparatus here. You've got those really red eyes. And it's just very insect-like to me. It looks like a carapace that sits on top of his head. There's a lot of paint in there, from golds to slight bronze colors. And then you've got a lot of wash in there to bring out all of those sculpted lines, because just like the rest of the body, there is a ton of line work. Not to mention the fact that, of course, you get the telltale Predlocks, the Predator dreadlocks, whatever you tend to call them. So you've got those there with slight ornamentation, little silver, little gold paint. So it's another cool, fun mask, and this is one, even if it was removable, there is zero chance that I would ever take this thing off. I just love the look way too much. Now, this guy does, of course, come with a few accessories, and outside of the coloring differences, this is one of the major factors that changes things up between this figure and the Lava Planet Predator. So you have got a Smart Disc, which is in his hand here, and you've got a Combi Stick, which is in his hand here. And they're okay accessories. They're not my favorite. This particular Combi Stick has suffered some warpage in being in package for so long. It's really, really bent. That's not a knock on the accessory itself. I didn't fix it just to kind of show that, you know, keep an eye out for this guy. If, you know, you happen to get him now and you take him out of the package, you might have to heat this thing up, just put it back in place. And then you've got the Smart Disc over here, and these are okay. I kind of like them, and then sometimes I don't. I feel like in practice they're really hard to actually use and actually get their fingers in, but once you kind of get it there, they look good enough. This is my preferred accessory for this guy. I really wish he had two gripping hands that would be able to double wield it, you know, two hands on the staff, but I do like the fact that they included it. And it's, I mean, it's a huge accessory, so there's a lot going on. There's a lot of detail in the grip here, and then of course there's paint all over this thing. I know just from a personal experience, watch out for these guys. You can break them off sometimes. The little tips down here, they're pretty wiry, but otherwise it's a fun accessory. It's very quintessential to Predator stuff. And then, you know, most or a lot of Predators anyway come with the discs. So this is one other thing they could have added in, and I'm glad they gave it to him, but frankly I probably won't use it all that much. So at the end of the day, this is one of those Predators that I kind of knew what I was getting into before I even opened it, because, you know, I've already reviewed the Lava Planet Predator, which is essentially the same figure, and I have knowledge of what this Predator is to begin with. That doesn't mean it's not a fun figure, because it definitely is. It's one of those, you know, Kenner homage figures that really does it for me on a nostalgia level. So even though he is more limited in articulation than a current Predator that you'd find on a store shelf, it is still a fun toy. It does have a lot of fun factor for me personally, just because I like where it comes from, and I like what NECA does when they do these tribute lines. They are some of my most favorite toys right now. So I would suggest snatching one of these guys up if you can find them for a good price these days. They aren't too hard to track down. So that's going to do it for this look at the NECA Toys Cracked Tusk Predator. Let me know what you guys think. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and share, and until next time.